Good evening. We are today with Emanuele Banchi, who is president of the Italian Association of Cost Engineering, who has just taken his lesson inside our specializing master contract claim and delay management in construction works, module number 10, Introduction to Delay Analysis, for him to tell us something about the contents of his lesson.
Yes, good evening. Yes, my short lesson presented the project control issues that each contract manager has to face when he is involved in a project. The project control is the basic for contract management because the project control processes gives all the data information that project control manager has to rely in his job. I start with the presentation of project control general context and the characteristics of the activities of the project control activity with some definition of the project control, planning, scheduling, and the job that a scheduler has to do with all the complexities that a scheduler, a planner has to consider to make his job. This is for Module 10, Introduction to Delay Analysis, of course, an important issue because to understand the delay analysis, you have to understand the planning and scheduling issues. Then I enter into different approaches to scheduling. I identify several ways to approach the usage of time during the project. By priority, by structured approach, by several perspectives. And this is of course fundamental to identify, to define a baseline for the project, which is the reference point to calculate the delays, of course. We enter then into a deep description of the networking techniques like CPM, PERT, with all the connected information and relevant issues that a scheduler has to face during his job. For instance, the constraints, the definition of critical path, which is, even if it's not so complex concept, must be defined, and float, free float, all the characteristics of these resources, let me say, of the project. Then we terminate with the description of the processes of project control. Processes that, of course, are based on the relationship between the contractor and the employee, because the processes of project controls are fundamental to grant the collaboration on the project between the contractor and the employer. This is, just to say, a tricky point during the life cycle of the contract, because all information that you have is based on what you know on the project, and what you know of the project is based on the information, quantitative information, the figures, the numbers that you have on the project, and this comes out from the data that the project controls extract from the project. So I concluded my lesson with an exercise that I proposed to the student with no solution, of course. For the solution, I will come after if they want. So I have left the lesson with a big question mark.
Okay, perfect. So they have to work.
They have to work, always
Okay.
better.
Okay, and I was wondering, do you think this kind of information, this kind of tools are useful only for big projects, big international projects, or also for small one that could be carried out here in Italy, for instance?
Of course, these processes must be tailored according to the structure of the project, must be adapted to the complexity of the project, dimensional complexity and specific complexity. Let me say a project of 1 month, 2 months, a couple of months is maybe more complex than a project of 1 year.
Of course.
And your capability to get controls of the situation is, of course, basic for the control of the contract. Let me say.
Okay, Emanuele, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I hope to see you for the solution of the problem.
Absolutely. Yes.
Bye bye.